Hello guys, hope all is well with you. In my presentation, I will quickly introduce, in about 5 minutes, deficit thinking and the oppression of human capital. I pray you will follow my thought processes as I include a few different forms of conceptualizing this information. So in my first slide, I talk about assumptions. I was in the 7th grade when my life science teacher wrote this on the board and said that we do not just assume anything in science. In fact, this is what happens when you do assume. And she proceeded to break down the word as I have it in the first bullet. I feel that assumptions are highly prevalent in society today. They connect people in a sense, yet ultimately disconnecting them from reality. Assumptions hinder our depth of reality to the point that we don't even realize we possess this type of deficit thinking. It prevents humans from connecting with others to help meet their needs in a timely fashion or never being able to meet their needs at all. I chose to place the book Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll in my slide because it represents this line of thinking. So follow me here. Alice sees beyond the image in the mirror, and as she climbs through the other side, she soon figures out that reality is quite distorted. Whether we like to admit it or not, we all possess biases and assume different things about individuals or groups of people based on those biases. Deficit thinking is just that. It is a negative mindset or deficit in the bank account of life. So Paulo Freire discusses the idea of oppressive thinking within education and desired people to see that teachers and students have an open line of communication, which enhances the relationship, takes away the barriers, and allows a quote-unquote banking system of teachers depositing wisdom into students, ultimately taking away the deficit mindset and assumptions from that equation. This helps forge a new reality by putting aside preconceived and oppressive ways of thought. I also found it fascinating to read about the neo-hereditarianism that Valencia writes about in his book, Dismantling Contemporary Deficit Thinking. It was truly eye-opening that deficit thinking has been so deeply rooted in American society and even influenced foreign policy in World War II. Again, he describes the multitude of assumptions that were placed in the African American peoples at that time. Unfortunately, we have not come far enough to completely dismantle this form of thinking, but his book brings a huge awareness to this process. So we're in human capital, and the definition of human capital is the collective skills, knowledge, and other intangible assets of individuals that can be used to create economic value for the individuals, the employees, or the community. And Pierre Bourdieu's The Forms of Capital discusses the 3 forms of cultural capital in the embodied form, the objectified form, and the institutionalized form. All 3 add value. The embodied state is ultimately self-improvement or personal cost. The objectified state is more about material possessions, and the institutionalized state is about academic qualifications or credentials, such as degrees or titles, which symbolize cultural competence and authority. Human capital is by far the greatest investment. It is seeking the internal potential capabilities of others and possibly exposing them to new ideologies and experiences to enhance their opportunities. By not investing in all people and not accepting their potential capabilities is the ultimate form of unintentional discrimination and deficit thinking. So I'm going to kind of go out on a limb here and say in Ector County, historically, the idea of human capital has divergent forms of thinking in terms of education and the oil field. So education is found in the oil field, or it is found in a traditional means of institutionalized methods. Both forms come from the different backgrounds and both have cultural experiences and money. However, because generally people working in the oil fields are not seen as having much input in cultural capital except for the economy, they are somewhat not cultural enough to hold significant status in society. This is a form of deficit thinking that has pervaded our culture in West Texas for generations, which is somewhat representative of Bourdieu's writings and Freire's disdain of oppressive thinking. There are multiple forms of oppressiveness and deficit thinking that is deeply embedded and has taken many years to begin to shift mindsets to create equal and equitable opportunities for individuals and expand our human capital here in West Texas. So I appreciate your time. I hope that all of you have a wonderful first start to the school year. Rest a little bit before the next wave of semester hits us. And here are my resources. Have a blessed one. Bye, guys.